The movie opens with a brutal scene. Two men and a woman inside a car drinking beers on what seems to be just another night. But the fun turns into a nightmare when one of them says the words, "She's all yours." They lock the car doors and assault her. Years later, we meet Emma, who is traveling to a secluded vacation house in the middle of nowhere. Her driver, Joe, can't help but ask uncomfortable questions. Why is a woman traveling alone to such a remote place? Emma remains evasive, keeping her secrets to herself. When they arrive at a luxurious property, Joe tries to help her with her luggage, but she insists on handling it herself. Before leaving, Joe admits that he's passed through the area several times and has never seen that house before. He asks her if her husband will be arriving tomorrow. Emma confirms, and he leaves, clearly intrigued by the strange situation. Once inside, Emma deactivates the security alarm and is impressed by the luxury surrounding her. Everything is perfect, almost too perfect. She finds a house instruction manual and settles into her room to unpack. At night, while she's taking a relaxing bath, someone knocks on the door. Cautiously, Emma opens the door and discovers a bouquet of roses with a simple note. For Emma, no sender, no explanation. Later, Emma puts on some music, pours herself a glass of wine, and starts dancing in light clothing, enjoying her solitude. She fills a second glass, perhaps thinking of her husband, but when she goes to make a toast, she accidentally knocks it over. While cleaning up the mess, she notices something strange. The wine spilled in a peculiar pattern, as if there were a hidden crack in the floor. Before she can investigate, her phone rings. She doesn't answer. Seconds later, she sees the lights of a car approaching and gets scared. But it turns out to be Henry, her husband, who has arrived earlier than expected. The couple settles outside to have a drink and celebrate their 9th wedding anniversary. Henry jokes about how forgetful Emma is with her belongings, especially after she mentions having left her notebook in the car. He suggests she should modernize and use a laptop. They fondly recall some of the moments from their 9 years together. When Henry tries to set a romantic mood, Emma seems distant, almost cold. He goes inside, visibly frustrated. Here, the crack in their marriage becomes evident. Something more than just a forgotten notebook is coming between them. Inside the house, Emma pours 2 glasses of whiskey. As she drinks, she watches Henry talking to his son on the phone, a conversation that makes him remember his late mother. After drinking, Emma starts to feel dizzy, so much so that she can't plug in her phone charger. Henry helps her get into bed, but suddenly, he also feels dazed. They say goodnight to each other and fall into a deep sleep. In the middle of the night, the house alarm is silently deactivated. A man enters the bedroom, takes out a briefcase with instruments, and begins to do something to Emma, including injecting her with a substance. Their privacy and intimacy are completely violated, and they have no idea. The next morning, Emma wakes up and finds 2 cups of coffee, a rose, and a note on her nightstand. She assumes it was Henry and hugs him tenderly. But when she gets up, she notices something disturbing. She's not wearing the same pajamas she went to bed in. She asks Henry what time he got up to make her coffee, but he insists he didn't wake up at all during the night. Frightened, Emma asks him if he changed her clothes. Henry flatly denies it. He tries to rationalize the situation by saying they drank too much and maybe just don't remember clearly. They pick up the note next to the coffees and read, "Happy anniversary. Take good care, Mr. and Mrs. Barrett." Emma becomes visibly upset. She confesses to Henry that last night, although she's not sure if it was a dream, she saw someone coming into their room. Henry asks her if she set the alarm, and she thinks she did, but can't remember for sure. He tries to calm her down by asking if she saw anyone the day before. Emma says no, that the only thing she received was the flowers he sent her. Henry denies having sent her the flowers. They decide to call the owner of the house immediately, but when they look for their phones, they discover that both have disappeared. They go to get dressed, but all their clothes have been changed. They grab the first things they find and run out to the car. When they're about to leave, Henry realizes he doesn't have the keys. They look back and see something moving among the trees. The hunter reveals himself but still doesn't show his face. They both get out of the car. Henry tells Emma to go inside the house and lock the door, while he, armed with a shovel, goes to investigate who is behind the trees. Inside the house, Emma locks all the doors and grabs the landline phone to call for help. But when she picks up the receiver, she hears a chilling voice that says just one word, "Obey." On the TV screen, recordings of them inside the house start playing. Emma realizes in horror that there are cameras everywhere. Suddenly, Henry bangs on the door desperately, begging her to let him in. Emma lets in a bloodied Henry. He orders him to activate all the alarms immediately. He tells him that someone attacked him and hit him on the head, but he couldn't see who it was. When he enters the room, Henry also discovers all the hidden cameras. The phone rings again. When Henry answers, the voice tells them that they are not going to leave the house, that now they must obey its rules. If they don't, there will be terrible consequences. When Henry asks what they want, the voice replies, "We know what you did." Henry insists that he doesn't know what they're talking about. They try to escape immediately, but all the doors and windows are completely sealed shut. The phone rings again. They decide not to answer and throw the device away. When Emma tries to break the glass door, a deafening buzzing starts ringing inside her head, leaving her desperate and writhing in pain. Henry discovers that he has something implanted behind his ear. The voice warns them that every time they disobey and try to leave, the consequences will be worse. Henry goes to destroy one of the cameras, but the same buzzing leaves him incapacitated on the floor. He also has a chip implanted behind his ear. The trap has completely closed. They are prisoners on their own honeymoon. The voice orders them to go to the bedroom. When they arrive, it tells Henry to open the door like a gentleman and then asks Emma to thank him, which she does in a trembling voice. In the room, it orders them to clean themselves up and get dressed with the clothes that were left for them. Then, the voice orders them to go to the kitchen so Emma can prepare dinner for her husband. When they go to leave the room, Emma tries to open the door, but the buzzing stops her immediately. The voice reminds her that the gentleman must always open the door for the lady, and the lady must thank him. A twisted etiquette lesson with electronic torture as the teaching method. In the kitchen, while Emma cooks, the voice tells Henry to go look for a laptop that was left for him. It asks him to open the only folder on it. Henry opens the folder and finds screenshots of conversations. He is completely thrown off. The voice orders him to read them out loud. Henry starts to read with a trembling voice. It's a declaration from Emma to her lover named Ryan, where at the end she says she loves him. Immediately after, they show Henry a video of Emma in bed with Ryan. Henry, angry, gets up to leave, but the voice orders him to stop, saying that tonight they will have dinner together as husband and wife. At dinner, Henry demands to know who the man is that she has been cheating on him with. She doesn't give many details, she just says his name is Ryan and that her relationship with him is over. Henry asks her if he loves her, and she says no, but the voice interrupts. "Don't lie to your husband." Emma admits that he still keeps calling and texting her, but insists that it's really over between them. Henry doesn't believe her and gets angry, telling her that's why they no longer have any intimacy. He storms away from the table, furious. Later, Emma shows up in the room where Henry is. At that moment, classical music starts playing and images of their wedding appear on the TV. The voice orders them to dance. Henry flatly refuses, but the buzzing sound quickly makes him change his mind. They start to dance. The voice tells them to kiss. He gives her a quick kiss. The voice insists. Kiss her properly. Henry does it. Then it asks Henry to take off Emma's dress, and for Emma to take off Henry's shirt. Then it orders Henry to make love to her. Henry approaches the bed. We notice that he is willing to do it without remorse. But Emma's face says otherwise. She doesn't want to have sex with him. She is terrified. Suddenly, Henry says he can't do it and moves away from the bed. The buzzing in his head immediately starts to torture him. He is completely affected and blood starts coming out of his ears. In the bathroom, Emma cleans Henry's ears and keeps apologizing to him. But he says it's his fault for not spending enough time with her because of work. He asks her why she didn't scream when he was on top of her. She says she couldn't do it. In a devastating flashback, we see that she was the girl from the beginning of the movie. That situation still terrifies her. Later, they're in bed. The voice continues giving advice and wisdom about love, but suddenly interference is heard through the speakers. It's Joe who returned the notebook to Emma. They bang on the door desperately asking for help, but he can't see or hear them. Suddenly, Emma shines a flashlight through the peephole and miraculously, Joe sees her. He climbs over the house gate to see what's going on. Emma and Henry celebrate with renewed hope, but before he can enter, a masked man pulls him down and starts beating him brutally. Through the camera, they see Joe being dragged away. Henry and Emma are left devastated. This was one of the last hopes they had left. But then, Emma realizes something crucial. The person speaking always has the same voice, so it's probably just one person. That means that right now they're outside and not controlling them. She climbs onto the sofa, disconnects the camera, and nothing happens to her. This confirms that she was right. Then, she quickly goes to the table where she spilled the wine since she noticed something strange underneath it. She manages to remove a cover, and to her surprise, there's a passageway leading to a basement. Henry tells her not to go in, but Emma does it anyway. Henry hears a noise and yells at her to get out immediately, but suddenly, the masked man appears behind him and attacks him. Emma turns around to see what's happening, and then the man grabs her by the foot and pulls her out of the passageway. She resists, but he activates the buzzing in her head and leaves her paralyzed. Then he injects her with a liquid, and Emma falls asleep. When she wakes up, she's lying in bed with Henry. She looks at the television and realizes there's someone sitting in a chair in the living room. The two of them approach, and to both their surprise, it's Ryan. The three of them come face to face. The voice tells them they can't untie him. Ryan begs them to untie him. Then Henry lashes out at him with all his fury. "You slept with my wife, why should I do it?" Ryan apologizes and tells him it's all over, that she ended things with him. But Henry is still furious. He tells him that he ruined the happiness they had. Ryan responds, "If she was so happy, then why did she end up in bed with me?" A brutal question that exposes the truth no one wants to face. This sends Henry over the edge. He grabs a knife and goes to kill him, but the voice orders him not to, and he stops. The voice tells him to give the knife to his wife, that she must be the one to kill him. Emma starts to say she won't do it, but the voice warns that if she doesn't, they will kill Henry. The buzzing begins to torture Henry relentlessly. The voice tells Emma she must make a decision or Henry will die. Emma takes the knife with trembling hands. Ryan begs her not to do it, but at the same time, the voice orders her that she must. Emma makes a decision and stabs Ryan in the stomach. She is devastated by what she has just done. Henry comforts her through tears. Later, Henry tells Emma that she could have let him die, but she says no, she doesn't know what her life would be without him. She tells him she loves him, and he replies that he loves her too. Henry gives her a glass of whiskey to help her calm down and goes to move Ryan's body somewhere it can't be seen. When Emma goes to drink, she remembers that the last time they had that whiskey, they ended up sedated, so she decides not to drink it. She calls Henry, but he doesn't hear her. Emma realizes that the man is probably watching her through a camera, so she pretends to drink and spills the whiskey on the carpet. Then she pretends to faint. Finally, she learns how to play the game. A few minutes later, the man enters her room, checks if she's asleep, and leaves the room. Emma goes out to investigate and finds an open closet. She sees that inside there are clothes from the 1950s, but at the end of the closet there's an entrance to another room. When she enters, she finds a glass of whiskey, monitors, and leafless trees as icons. Then she presses a button on an old computer, and a commercial starts playing. She discovers that a cult called the Eden Group has formed an organization that offers services to correct wives. The Eden Group promises husbands that their wives will learn to behave, smile, cook, and give them children like in the old days. A twisted ideology disguised as marriage therapy, where the woman must be broken and rebuilt according to the standards of another era. She keeps searching through the files and sees a video of them in the room, in which it shows how Henry didn't drink the whiskey the first night and threw it outside. Then she plays another video and sees that when he went outside to look for someone and came back with a blow to the head, he had actually applied ink colored to look like blood. She also sees how he helped the man tie Ryan to the chair, and as if that weren't enough, it was he who changed her night clothes the first night after abusing her. Emma is completely in shock and begins to cry silently. Suddenly, she sees that the camera detects movement. When she looks, she realizes that her husband is talking to the man outside and they're about to come back in. She hurries to leave, But before going out, she sees that there are several keys on a panel and takes one. Henry and the man enter the room where Emma is sleeping. The man tells him that he has all the footage of Emma killing Ryan, and with that, he'll be able to manipulate her forever. They take Emma to the back of a car. Henry starts kissing her, and she slowly begins to move her hand to grab the knife Henry has at his waist, but she can't reach it. The man appears and tells Henry it was a pleasure doing business with him as he hands him his keys. But Henry says those aren't his keys. The man is surprised and goes to look for the right ones. Emma takes the opportunity to get up and sees that the two of them go into the house. She moves to the front seat and puts the keys in to start the car, but at that moment she remembers she has the chip behind her ear. If she doesn't remove it, she'll never be able to get away from Henry. With a key, she manages to extract the chip from her skin. Suddenly, the man spots her and opens the car door. She manages to break free with a kick and runs barefoot into the woods. At one point, she trips over a root and her dress gets caught. The man manages to catch up to her, but as he approaches, she breaks free and starts running again. Along the way, Emma finds a shovel and grabs it. When the man thinks he's close, she hits him on the head with the shovel and the man falls dead. The victim becomes a survivor. As Emma is taking off the watch he used to control them, Henry appears. She hugs him and tells him she's happy that he's okay, that she woke up in the car and didn't know where she was. She tells him that the man was the voice in the house and that now they can leave together. Henry agrees and they leave together. But when they're about to get in the car, Henry notices that Emma is bleeding behind her ear and tells her that before they go, he wants them to go inside to get their things. Emma says she doesn't want to go in, that it's better if he goes, since if the door closes, she has the key and will be able to open it. But Henry insists, telling her that he'll protect her. When they get to the door, she tells him to open it like the gentleman he is, and he does. We see that Emma has the man's watch in her possession. When they come in, she presses the watch to give him the buzzing shocks, but she sees the chip on the table. She realizes that he took it off too. Henry attacks her with tremendous fury. He hits her on the head and she is left stunned. He starts telling her that he won't let her go. She manages to kick him in the testicles and cuts his face with a ring. Emma runs out and tries to grab the bottle of whiskey, but Henry stabs her in the leg with the knife. Emma hits him on the head with the bottle, and when he falls, she hits him again, breaking the bottle. Emma keeps running and enters the room where they control the house. There, she finds the device that implants the chips. She stands behind the door to wait for him. He comes in unexpectedly and grabs her, but she stabs him with the device and implants the chip in his neck. Before Emma can grab the watch to activate the chip, he starts stepping on the spot where he stabbed her. Henry says he did this for her, but now he will have to kill her. When he gets ready to do it, Emma tells him she's sorry, that it's all her fault, and that she loves him, asking him to let her see him one last time. But when she turns to look at him, she activates the watch, and the buzzing leaves Henry completely helpless. Emma throws the watch into the whiskey, leaves the ring by his side, and abandons Henry, writhing in pain on the floor. The symbol of their marriage remains next to the man who destroyed it. The next morning, we see Emma driving down the road. At one point, she sees a car crashed into a tree. She approaches, discovers it's Joe, and helps him into her car. When Joe wakes up in the back seat, he thanks Mrs. Barrett. She replies, "Call me Emma. She is no longer Mrs. Barrett. That woman died in that house. The one driving now is a survivor." And that's how Hostages from 2020 ends.